Record. Look at that. There's just literally a button.
There you go, John.
We're going to put you right there.
I'm here. I'm here on my job.
Yep.
This podcast is my
I'll put my
job.
jacket on too.
Yeah, everybody get their jackets. Like, John, you put on your jacket.
This is how Joe Rogan started, He actually was by himself in front of his computer and just recording himself. And then he had like an online chat room where people would just say things and he would just react to it.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's just starting and continuing forward. And I know that just from ground up works.
Yeah, we could have a whole episode where we literally just react to like bullshit on the internet. Like, whoa, wow, John, what do you think of that? That was funny.
No, dude, YouTube Joe Rogan's like first podcast, you'll see how small, like he was just like literally recording himself looking at stuff on the internet.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I'm telling you, just
All right, now everybody has their jackets.
Jackets, AirPods. I mean, the podcast has already started. We're just like, this is it.
John,
We're live already.
The podcast has been rolling.
yeah, but you could edit it out.
Yeah.
I think this is all a part of it.
No. There's no editing. This is
No.
Here, like use your hook up your AirPods and then just hit record. Voice memo. Yeah, that's like the best.
Okay. I just thought about introducing us. I'm gonna say James, but I go by Jimmy. That's just what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
And then are we gonna start with the prompt or
I think the
Yeah,
prompt.
I'm John McCoy.
John McCoy. Okay, you want to go first, John?
I haven't started recording.
Yeah, I mean, well, Garrett said, is there
Yeah, you
cursing
can
in a
start, 'cause
podcast?
it'll be
And
that
I go, I don't like to curse, but I will just break the curse bubble and say, damn it.
oh,
So there you go. I broke the curse bubble.
that's really
Damn it, Garrett. Damn it.
You're here though, John.
yeah,
I am. I had to break the curse bubble. Now I'm not going to curse again. You see how that works?
Yes, you were rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling. All right, who would like to
Wait, I thought
begin?
we were already rolling.
Now we're
Yeah,
rolling.
well,
in.
we've been rolling.
All right. If you want to start,
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, my name's John McCoy. I'm going to break the curse bubble because I don't like to curse. So I'm just going to say, damn it. So I already broke the curse bubble. Probably won't curse much after that. So
Okay, I'm Garrett Shearman.
James Ferris, go by Jimmy.
All right, and this is the inaugural episode of whatever this podcast is going to be. We, as of yet, have no idea where this is going to go, but it is going somewhere and fast.
Yep.
Like lightning.
Yep.
Yep.
Modern artist. Everything from finance, history, religion, anything that piques
raisins.
and raisins.
Raisins too.
So
But yeah, so that's the thing that we were talking about in the beginning, how this kind of idea occurred, because we're all in the realm. We've worked together for a long time. We've been friends for a very long time. And we've been a part of each other's creative journey for a very long time. We've worked together in the past on creative endeavors and have since gone our own ways into writing, into other fields, and especially in our own businesses. But now we want to bring all the things that we've learned back together under a unified spearhead with something that we can actually continue and add value and entertainment to whoever is going to listen to this.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's good.
Starting, with things that we've created, everything from writing books to short films to anything in the creative department, and while bringing a business element to it, learning from how to market ourselves, how to make money from it, and then how to ultimately advance with our work and ultimately our artistic careers. So it's a huge conglomerate of many different things. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's in today's, if you want to be anything, if you're in sales, especially where it's completely dependent upon you to go out and eat what you kill, or in anything creative, which is essentially the exact same thing. You're still trying to sell something to an audience. In today's world, the only way to do that is to build that audience from the ground up. If you try to go, I mean, from what we found, if you try to go the traditional route of finding an agent or anything like that, that's just a fruitless pursuit. But why that's so beautiful, why there's more opportunity than there ever has been before, is because we have avenues like this to build that audience.
Yeah. You want to add anything to that, John?
I just want to know things
That's good.
and learn things.
It's good to learn things. I'll
We're gonna
say
do that too.
Yeah, I'll say that one of the biggest things about building an audience that I've learned, you can go out and look for a publisher, you can go out and try to find a musical label, but really all of the things that are needed to do that are right here in front of us. I mean, we can write our own books and publish it. You can find a small publisher. You can make music in your house, which was so different 100 years ago. And really even 60 years ago, that the whole landscape has changed, where there's a new generation that is now coming out with people that are starting from the ground up. Yes, there's not much money in it in the very beginning, as with anything, as with businesses, usually take 10 years to prosper. But by doing this, it's the hope to achieve a growing audience, achieve a monetary value, but to ultimately grow in the artistic development, and to expand from there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, is you hear a lot of, when you first get into the industry, when we first got into film, I don't think we had a single person in that journey. How long did we do that for? 2 years?
Considering it in college.
Well, if you consider in college as well, like
Maybe
4 to
5.
maybe 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we encountered a single person throughout that whole journey. John, maybe you could tell me differently if you met anybody at LSU or anything like that. I don't think we met a single person that ever told us, hey, now's the time for you to go seize the day and build your own audience on your own. Every single thing that we heard was, no, you have to go this like ladder rung structure where you have to start at the very bottom in the film industry, start working on film sets, and go up from there. But if your goal is to actually create things, once we got into that, we quickly found out like, oh, this is an impenetrable barrier for us actually making anything. And in fact, rather than us making anything, we're almost just wasting our time by trying to get into this industry rather than just creating the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah. I really think
Just putting it out there.
Yeah. I mean, did you hear anything?
Hopping on the podcast while you're at work, because this is also your work. So,
Yeah.
it's true.
Don't have to be in the same room to make a podcast. Now you can be in separate rooms. You can be in different countries. But it's doing it, putting it out there.
Yeah, reaching the voices. It's
Powerful.
It's another
First episode's powerful. It doesn't look like all fancy and professionally quality, but the first episode's still super powerful.
Yeah, it's the beginning.
I feel it. I feel the potential.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the big thing is, we're trying to build an audience from the ground up, because I think today we've all come to that conclusion that that's the only way to get your work out there, is for you to do it yourself rather than be beholden to any kind of like connections. And obviously like those will come once you have it already built,
Yeah. Yep. And like I said, we each have our own stories about how we got involved in the industry and just the creative world, that leads us to where we are today. So,
yep. But
what I've seen, I've thought too with the podcast, I've been like, okay, like if you want attention, you have to be controversial, and not that I would be, controversial in a dumb way that doesn't bring value or anything like that. But that's what I see with the podcast is like, you cannot shrink from controversial topics if you want, an audience, because people love controversy.
I think what it really is that it's authenticity. It's rather than like being controversial for controversy's sake. It's more
not in a foolery sense, like you're being controversial just to stir the pot in a fool, but you do like give your solid opinions, your authenticity towards controversial things.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing is, what is considered controversial, I think that and that's why a lot of these other podcasts have blown up. it's in reality, there's such a large portion of the country that's looking for authenticity. And that,
information, knowledge.
yeah,
development.
exactly. And that what they consider to be, what the narrative might consider to be controversial is in reality just the truth, or it's just a differing opinion.
Yeah.
Just people are considered controversial because they're willing to express it rather than just go along with the status quo, whatever that is.
Yeah, I agree.
Be authentically controversial.
But let me ask you this, John, what is controversial?
Yeah, what is controversial?
What does that even mean?
The truth, yeah. I mean, you nailed it. The truth is controversial. Because
Isn't-
sometimes,
Like how could that be? How is the truth controversial? According to who or to
And
whom?
what is the truth, really?
Yeah, I guess
because sometimes the truth can hurt, and it can be, it can be the truth, but it's not what people want to hear. So it can cause some uneasiness and stressors and controversy. Yeah. But as long as you're speaking the truth, you got the wind at your back.
It's true.
yeah.
I have something to say though.
Yeah.
About, I think another big thing about why, and I was having this conversation earlier, why the difference in the creation and the artistic pursuit and business is so different than it was 100 years ago. When I went to Paris recently, and when you see Montmartre, the famed neighborhood of where all of the artists, writers, musicians, everyone lived and thrived and developed, and it was such an intercohesive unit. Or my perception of it is that it's so near the central part of Paris. It's it's cheap. The living conditions are cheap. Everyone could live there. That's why it was what it was. It was a cheap place to live right outside the Paris, the center where they could go study at the Louvre. If you were a musician, you could go play in the cafes. If you're a writer, you can have a cheap place to live and talk, be close to publishers. I mean, it just made sense. Why?
What if you're a podcaster?
Well, that's what I'm getting.
that's what he's getting
No,
to,
but that's
yeah.
what I'm getting to. What makes it different now, though, is it's now so expensive to live in Montmartre. It wouldn't make
Well,
sense.
Montmartre now is Los Angeles or New York City.
That's right.
Where if you're a young and inspiring artist, like back in the day, if you were just getting out of World War I, you could go live in Paris for pennies on the dollar.
That's right.
But now today, if you want to go try and make it in New York City, if you're trying to be an actor or a musician or whatever it might be, you're going to pay $3,000 in rent. Who has that coming right out of college or whatever, with whatever job you'd be able to get there as a waiter or whatever it would be.
Yeah. And the whole metric of way to make money through art is completely different. I mean, through streams on Spotify or through Kindle page reads, it's just all different than writing short stories for magazines or playing at the local cafe. I mean, and on top of that, being a musician, if you're living on some of those old Paris apartments, it's going to be loud. The music's going to wake up the neighbors. You physically could not, yell into the microphone and make something just by the structure of it. So you would be forced to leave a central location to go to like a countryside where it's cheaper living conditions, where they have enough space to create the music. You see, it's just not even viable back 100 years ago because there was no real microphones. There was no real way to record music. And that's why those places were great then. That's right, by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why they had to move to the countryside, and just the whole makeup, the whole metric of how music is created, who it's reaching has changed. And that's the same with writing and with most any art.
Yeah, anything creative. That's the whole thing that I see, is that now it's not Montmartre in Paris, it's not New York City, it's not any one centralized location. It's the ether, it's the internet. It's that you have access to everything. You have the ability to do it yourself, no matter where
Stream, yeah.
physically located. And so that gives the opportunity it completely opens up the floodgates for creators to make it. But the only way to do that is still to actually create. And so that's the whole argument, is that, well, why am I going this traditional route that has so much resistance when you can just do it yourself? That's what those artists were doing. It's, well, if I can't get into the impressionists, if I can't get into the salon, well, then whatever, I'm just going to go out into the street and just paint. It doesn't matter to them. It's the same kind of thing that's happening today.
Yeah, and it could be more
So if the truth is controversial and you're saying that it's easier now than ever to through these many different streams that we can convey information at light speed, then you're pretty much saying that we could get to the truth faster
Oh,
of
100%.
things, or figure out what needs to be said and done faster than ever before in history.
Right. Well, if you were a painter back in the day, just going off that, or if you were a writer, if you were a musician, you would have to have access to all those pieces of music, to all those paintings, to physically see it, unless you were just to see it in some book. But how would you even find necessarily that book? Exactly. You would have to live right there where it was happening.
Study the Louvre.
Yeah,
You
you
have
would
to
have to
sit
be,
to study
you
the
would have to be able to walk to the Louvre. You would have to be able to go study at the conservatory or find a way to have access to that music. But today, everything's on your phone. You can have access to every painting in history for free.
And any book.
Any book, any
Any
song,
song,
anything.
right.
It's all on YouTube. It's all
Anything.
exactly. You don't need to have wealth or necessarily even opportunity to
Or
create
even
something today.
location.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah,
it's
completely open.
a curse though, as well as a blessing in a sense. That's a whole nother
Well,
a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
it's abused. Everything's accessible. Knowledge is accessible.
They
Art's
call it-
accessible. You know,
They call it like information overload, or like too much noise. Yeah, noise overload, or sensory overload.
yeah. Well, yeah. If
But
the
if you use it right, if you channel it right, yeah.
if the smartphone was used as it could
Smartphones,
best be used, yeah, to actually make you smart,
Yeah.
the world would be completely different. But I believe that there are people like, not to say that I don't waste so much time just looking at stupid stuff on the internet, whatever it would be.
Yeah, let that smartphone make you smart.
Yeah, exactly. It makes people dumb inversely.
Yeah.
But I do believe that
Yeah.
there are people out there who are wising up that, as people become more accustomed to like the ill nature or the negative side effects of letting it consume you in your attention. I think that the more people are going to wake up and there's going to be more people looking to expand themselves in their mind rather than just be sucked in to stimulus.
Yeah, because theoretically speaking, because we have access to all this information and the ease to which produce it, the music should be better than it's ever been. The writing should be better than it's ever been. But that's not yet. That's a yes and no. I mean, because all the talent's going to go where the money can be made. And it does take time. Like the Summa Theologia can't be reproduced again. Yes, it can be reproduced again, but that was someone devoted their entire life to writing just volumes and volumes and volumes of books, which is just, unless you're just a rich aristocrat that can do that, that's also has the, the study and the church, when it had taxing power to back you, that just necessarily can't be produced today. It can be, it's just, but instead of us typing on typewriters, where we would have, if we made a mistake, we would have to go back or replace the whole paper, scratch it off. We can delete a sentence. We can go back and keep rereading and developing different scenarios within the work that just wasn't available. It was, they would just have to do more work to make it happen, as we can just highlight and delete.
I believe.
Well, hey, I'll say real quick, I'll reiterate again. I feel the power of this podcast. Like I didn't really say feel it until now that I'm actually on it. Now it's like, whoa, I can see how like the information can get synergized from, like, right now we're only 3 different people, but like each one of us has something that we don't know. Like, something that I don't know, and I know something that you don't know, and how it just synergizes it together, and how powerful that is, even though we don't have the whole studio and multicolored floral plants hanging around us.
They'll come.
I can just feel I feel the power of it, though, even though it's like in its rawest form right now. It's pretty
100%.
crazy. Yeah.
That's the whole thing too, is that as we've developed our own selves and our own artistic vision, our own sense of business and our own philosophies, now we can come together and make this a frequent thing. But it's like iron sharpening iron. If we make this over the course of us doing it
and bringing in other people.
100%, and
Around the
eventually it'll
world
grow to that.
do it, yeah.
And more people as
That's a proverb,
people
Garrett.
to be what? What's
Iron
a-
sharpening iron.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
read that like yesterday. Yeah.
Joe Rogan said when he just started his podcast, his literal words were, "I was just bullshitting with all of my friends." Okay. And so, of course,
Yep.
it was that he was having comedians on there, just people that he thought was interesting. But now, if you look at his character from what it was in the very beginning of it to where it is now, he's like a modern day, like he's a serious voice in America. You know,
Dude, he's the man.
yeah, how much he has advanced his own mind just by constantly interviewing people and learning through discussion. I mean, he's light years ahead of where he would be today if he didn't have that. But that's the same thing with
Yeah,
us.
just like a UFC, you know, like he went from UFC man to like the man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
And that's so important for us.
Dude, they were saying they wanted Joe Rogan to like moderate presidential debates. Like, no, he needs to moderate the
Here
presidential
you go.
debates.
Maybe he'll do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Really. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's our timer at right now?
I don't know. I mean, we could cut it off.
I think right now would be a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, a good time. I'm feeling it too because I gotta get back. Dude, we gotta. Okay, I'm just saying this. This is gonna be on the podcast. Don't care at all. We gotta blast this on every form of social media that exists.
Well,
Like we need
do it. It
Rumble,
is. Like I said, yeah.
Facebook, Instagram,
I'm gonna click it.
TikTok. Like honestly, if there's an app that
What's
where you
the
just
home
you
computer
upload it.
that we're gonna send it to. I bet all it needs is an equalizer. I know I was listening to you, Jen. I'm just because I have this and I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
here, I'll
John-
stop it.
No,
John,
all I'm saying
go
is
ahead.
we need to.
I was sweating.
We gotta blast this. That like full stop. Don't be embarrassed. If you said something funny, if you said something
need.
funny, or maybe you thought a funny thought, who cares? We just gotta blast,
What
baby.
we need a common. So we need a common social media network for just this collaborative
You have
work
to
to
make
be
a
put on.
page. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
we
to
have to
make a
have
page.
a,
You
an
have-
Instagram,
It's so
YouTube,
and it's so easy.
all of course,
Yeah.
all that stuff. We all have
And then
access
you
to it.
do, but the thing is, like John, I'm telling you, you have to get on TikTok. And if you want to blast it, that's where you gotta blast it. Like that's one
Yeah.
that is now moving. That's because it's
Oh
not-
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we need a name and we need
John, you
that kind of thing.
John,
I'm
you
just saying, I feel the
realize
power.
I'm telling you, as long as it just has to be, it has to be bold, like it has to be consistent, and it has to be because if the substance itself of what we're speaking, I know, like I said, the camera, the nice microphones, I agree with that. That's already bedrock. But I'm saying the substance of what we're speaking, like a book, is so good and so
So
true
powerful. Yeah.
that it shouldn't, the quality is only, yes, that's nice, but it will not inhibit us. Yes, I know, but it'd be like, if we just get it out there, you just gotta put it
No,
out.
dude, I
the
didn't.
camera, the voice, the word has to just get out.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say
No.
this.
Yeah.
I would say this, no matter what, we should aim to at least have one every other week, but really if we could hit every week, because no matter what.
Dude, every week, so good.
Look,
Like
this should
so
took
hard.
20 minutes. We
But-
can at least make time to we all get in front of our computer screens. And if you have the ability to set up a camera, then do it. But if not, it doesn't matter. And we just record the Zoom like we're doing right now.
But look, but this is another question though, right here. This
Actually, I'll
is
keep it
another
going.
question.
Hmm.
I was talking to John for 20 minutes on the phone today about a great conversation. If we just recorded it, that I'm saying, yeah, but like that's just supplemental. Like it's like still pumping, feeding the fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and if you talked with John, dude, you could talk with freaking Bob
100%.
and be like, dude, yeah, hey Bob, can I record you? Go there. Put
Okay,
that-
well, wait. So wait a second. So that is what I'm gonna do. Here's the thing. We're branding this under a podcast. In reality, podcasts are consumed honestly like more on YouTube and TikTok and all these other platforms.
put it.
Yeah, it's more, the video component is more important than the audio component.
That's right. Yeah.
And so if we have it, yeah, I completely agree. It's
Dude,
word
look.
to all the conversation. I've said that for so long, and it's like we've been foolish to not
But that,
act on.
but that's what I'm saying is it'd be like this.
Do you know? No, look, I'm serious when I say this. I
Wait.
did not
Oh.
understand
Wait.
until I actually got on the podcast. I actually had a moment where I was like, holy shit, like I see the power.
Yeah, but you said this, you go, okay, once a week. I go, my whole mindset is get it out now, unless you don't make trap. I mean, get it out as much as can. I see it with like the TikTok. I see, I'm like, no, you gotta just.
Yeah, that's
Any time it can
All the time.
happen. Yeah,
It's
literally
anytime.
do it all
But
the time.
it'll be like this. You talked with John yesterday, and I go, oh, dude, Garrett got
Okay.
to talk with John. He broke it up in 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and we
so-
didn't it wasn't an official meeting. It's just like, hey, dude, John, this is a good conversation. Let's hit that record button and start
Yeah.
talking.
You see, though, okay, so this is going into what I was saying too, though. It's
Hey
more-
guys, I gotta go. All right, bye.
I see it more important,
We going
honestly,
to talk now.
instead of the stop recording. Did it stop recording?
Make sure it's saved.